From Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, this is TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me, as he always does, our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And AJ, here after Carolina's 41-10 win over Virginia Tech on this field right here. Good performance from the Tar Heels. 1-0 in the ACC to start out. You'll take that any day of the week. I thought they played really well today against a Virginia Tech team that, well, obviously we'll talk about in this video, I think is struggling a little bit under first-year coach Brent Pry, but take nothing away from North Carolina. I thought it was a much improved performance, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and that's where I want to start. I thought Carolina played really well defensively, holding Virginia Tech to under 300 yards of total offense, forced some turnovers as well. Just played with a lot of energy. AJ, I was on the field before the game started, and I've been on the field a couple times this year, but there was a different energy down here on the defense. You could sense it, you could feel it a little bit. It just looked like there was a little bit more of a grit, a little bit more of a focus, not only from the players, but from some of the coaches as well. If you go watch the pregame Sights and Sounds videos I do, you'll see Tim Cross in there and Gene Chizik getting a little fiery with guys kind of before the game, and I think it definitely translated a really positive performance from Carolina defensively. I think that's where we have to start tonight.
Well, it's traceable back to the meeting.
Yeah, players only meeting.
Sunday, and it's not my opinion, it's what the kids are saying. Mac said it some too, but Mac really heaped a lot of praise on his staff. And Mac's so good at what he does. And he understands that the fans need to heap some praise on the staff too, because they put him in positions to succeed, and then the kids did what they had to do to succeed. But a lot of this goes back to the meeting, you know, an airing of grievances, if you will. Yeah. It reminds me of the Seinfeld thing with Festivus, the airing of grievances and all that. But really, they had that. A lot of guys spoke. And I actually asked Cedric Gray today. He was talking about the fact that they were just popping out there. I mean, they had some pent-up frustration, and they let it all out. And I asked him, I said, how important was that meeting, giving that frustration breathing room to come out, and to come out in a productive manner? And he said it was huge.
Had to be, yeah.
So it goes back to last Sunday. It was initiated by the players. Mac didn't know about it for over a day, okay? They had some meetings with some of the leaders on defense, like Cedric and Noah. A lot of conversations around that building right behind here, the Kenan Football Center last week. A lot of very productive conversations. It wasn't just the kids meeting. It was Mac and staff. It was Mac and some of the leaders. It was staff and some of the leaders, primarily on that side of the ball. And the result they saw today, everybody saw today, was an exceptional performance. Yeah. Virginia Tech is struggling. I've described their offense as anemic. We saw that today. But you know what? They didn't let them get healthy.
No.
They didn't let them go off today. Remember Notre Dame's offense and Drew Pine? Everybody says he's not any good. Well, he had a career day against Carolina, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish went off against the Heels. Georgia State had lots of stretches of a lot of offensive success, but hadn't had a whole lot. So they didn't let Virginia Tech play out of character. They kept them under character. Less than 100 yards in the second half. They forced 5 straight punts and then a stop on 4th down when the second team was in there.
Positive.
So they got a chance to come off the field feeling really, really good about themselves too. This was enormous for this group. They needed this. Cedric said we absolutely needed this. Noah Taylor said we absolutely needed this. The interception that Cedric got, watch the film of Kamen Rucker. Just bull rushing the offensive tackle. That created the quick throw. And as Cedric said, he threw it right to me. And that happened because it came in Rucker. That was each guy 1 of 11 being their 1 of 11. So there were a lot of really positive things out there today. They did give up a lot of 3rd down conversions for a while, but they were still getting off the field. So I think that that's a big-time positive performance. These guys need something to feel really good about. It's not very often over time that this defense gives up just 10 points in a game against to an FBS team, excuse me. They did that today. Now they have to build on it. Now they have to see, okay, here are all of our points of emphasis that worked this past week. Now we need to apply it next week when they go to Miami, which will be a much stiffer test. But they had to start somewhere,
man,
with doing lots of positives and watching film where they're all going to be patting each other and smiling and lots of attaboys. Guys, you weren't in there for the press conference, but last weekend, Cedric Gray, like the last place he wanted to be was talking to us. He didn't like it. He was all smiles today. And that was good to see, because you like to see kids overcome certain things and have some success. No rooting interest at all here. But seeing kids do that from one week to the next is one of the joys of this job. And it was pretty cool to see these kids get some reward for their effort, for the punishment they've been taking on social media, and also for them getting together and making that meeting happen and then making it matter. That's what you could take from today. This could be a point in the season we look back to in 2 months from now and say, that was key. That was the moment, that was the fork in the road where they went the right way and ended up having a good season.
Yeah. Speaking of smiles, real quickly, AJ, just looking at some of the other, some of the second string guys that came in towards the end of the game, a lot of positive. Jacoby Cohen, I think he got he made a really good stop on Virginia Tech's quarterback when he was trying to run, and Deuce not only his celebrations out here, Deuce Caldwell as well, but if you watch them, I was filming it. If you go to the sidelines, the celebrations continued. It was a lot of good stuff, positive, not just messing around celebrations, like encouraging teammates and happy that some of the other guys that maybe don't play as much are getting out there and doing it. So I think this is a big positive to take.
They felt dominant.
Yeah, 100%.
So when you feel dominant, there's an invincibility, there's a high spirit, there's a high energy. You're not going to go to the bench and just think, gee, what am I going to do after the game tonight?
Exactly.
You want to get back out there and knock some more heads around. Yeah. Cayman Rutgers said the beautiful thing about football is it's legal to hurt somebody. Yeah. And they needed that. 100%. They came out there and legally hurt people tonight. Yeah. Well, and it's like, did you see what the Stephen?
Yeah, I had that.
Total sidebar here, but I don't know if you have it on camera.
I don't have the actual video, but I did get it zoomed in. I was looking through my camera and got to see
after the game. A lot of the Carolina players went right to Stephen Gosnell, who was hurt late, and that was a pretty cool moment. So there were a lot of good vibes on that sideline from the beginning of the game to right now.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Joe, let's flip over to the offensive side of the ball. I think everybody knows who we're going to talk about here again. We talked about him a lot this season because he just continues to impress. That's Drake Maye. Another big-time performance from him. I believe it was actually a career high in passing yards today. Was it 370-some yards, something like that? I can't remember off the top of my head, excuse me. But big day from him again. 3 touchdown passes as well. Just really did a good job at leading this offense once again. Used his feet as well, being over 70 rushing yards. So you got to see kind of the total package from Drake Maye today as well. The airborne play as well, which I think everybody in this stadium was holding their breath for a little bit, and I'm sure Phil Longo had some choice words for Drake when he walked back over.
I watched him when he walked back.
I can imagine, because I'm sure they don't need that, especially the way this game was going. But overall, Drake Maye continues to impress, continues to show why he's a big-time player and a big-time quarterback for this university. And if he keeps playing like this, AJ, Carolina and the defense can keep playing like they did today, Carolina's going to win a lot of football games. But really good stuff from Drake Maye.
Okay, let's hit the airborne play first. Okay, I asked him afterward, where is that balance? How do you fight instinct? He's a baller, guys.
Yeah, he's a competitor, man.
His teammates are like, well, we love seeing that, but we don't want to see it.
You can tell he's not scared to get hit.
No, of course not.
He's not. He's just not scared to get hit. Yeah.
He just wants to win.
Yeah.
He's uber competitive. I have talked to enough people that the impression I get, and a couple people who have known both, say that there's a Tyler Hansbrough-esque competitiveness
I can see that.
to Drake Maye. And when Drake puts his body out there, you'd probably say that maybe that's not the smartest thing to do, but that's his wiring. Yeah. So I think they're going to have to live with it until maybe Drake does get popped in a way where he can't do it anymore. He's going to have to work out of it, but this is just his 5th start. Okay, this was just his 2nd game against a Power 5, so he's still got a long way to go in his football career to work that out. I think if that's his biggest faux pas right now, that's his biggest bugaboo, he'll get it fixed. It's happened 3 times in 5 games. You just don't want the 4th time to be something that forces him to miss some time. It was scary. Our photographer Kevin Roy got a great photo of the helmet in his area. Yeah. So
I don't blame him for saying that.
He had a little breathing trouble there, and then worked it out, and everything was fine. And Phil did have some words with him on the sideline. No doubt. That was a very short meeting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very
don't ever do that
meeting.
again, brother.
But God, he's so damn good. Yeah. And I can tell you guys this too. In talking to some people around this program, the way they speak about him and what his future holds is different. He's a different kind of player. He's a next level player at a very high level. The NFL scouts love him, and the thing that's really fascinating is there's a lot of growth that will happen. We were just talking about one part, the footwork and certain fundamental things that he'll eventually get down because he's such a worker, but he's already this damn good when he still has all these other areas to improve. Scouts love him. What I'm hearing is, this guy's going to be a top 5 pick when it's time for him to come out.
I mean, if he keeps playing like this,
he's better than people that they've had. They've had a lot of good quarterbacks. You go back to Darian Durant, they've had a succession of mostly really good quarterbacks here. He's the best one of them all.
Yeah.
That's what some people around here that I talk to believe, and I think 5 games into his career, it's pretty hard to argue against that. Now, it's a short sample size. Defenses could figure him out, that we could see some struggles, but we haven't seen that yet. He still has 19 touchdowns and 1 interception. And by the way, a lot of people may not know this. The interception was at Georgia State. That was one of the plays Carolina submitted to the officials' office, saying, hey, there was a missed call there. The ACC came back and said, you're right, that was a missed call. It should have been a flag. Pick shouldn't have happened. So it should be.
Yeah,
Mac,
19-0.
Mac he'll say it Monday.
Oh, I know he will.
Guarantee in the press conference Monday, he'll say, well, he's 19-0. So that we're not really good. Just like the one red zone non-touchdown, I don't want to count that because they took a knee. So Mac's very focused on things like that. Drake is phenomenal. Can make every throw. We're seeing him throw deep more and more and more. And even when there's pressure, he just senses the pressure so well. He moves so well. He's good at stepping up. One time today, I think he went the wrong way. He had that little shovel incident right over here in front of the Virginia Tech bench. Probably the only mistake. So somebody asked him about that trick play. He was wide.
Oh, God, yeah, he was.
And he had linemen in front of him and like 1 or 2 hooks.
I think Kobe Paysour might get dogged on tomorrow.
They're roommates. They're roommates.
Oh, okay, then, yeah, they're definitely talking about that.
I would imagine after Drake goes to dinner with his parents, Kobe's going to get an earful.
Yeah, 100%.
He's really, really good. I mean, we could sit here and check 1,000 boxes of what he does well, but you guys all saw it. He's a great college quarterback right now, and he's going to get better. And as Mac Brown has said repeatedly, he gives them a chance to win every time. Every team they play the rest of the way, including Wake and NC State, and they're both really, really good, Drake gives them a chance to beat those guys. If the defense can be average,
that's it, yeah. Been saying
against a lot of the teams they play, Drake gives them a chance to win every one of those games. But today the defense was above average, well above average. I don't care who they played. They were monsters today. 5 forced punts in a row, 7 forced punts, and Drake's backing it up on the other end. You saw what Brandon P. wrote about complementary football.
Yeah.
The offense complementing the defense, picking each other up. Carolina did that today, which I think I'm segueing into our next point.
Yeah, big time. I'm going to segue back real quick, AJ. I saw Bo Maye today, newest addition to the North Carolina basketball program, walk on for the Tar Heels. Thought it was Luke. I mean, you're talking about it. You're talking about twins. I mean, I literally had to double take because I was like, oh, is that Luke? Now, granted, I was behind him, but there's something in the blood in that family because there's a whole bunch of athletes walking.
I think Drake looks a little different though.
Yeah, he does. Drake does. In terms of Luke and Bo, though, you couldn't have seen more. You know, they look like twins. Obviously, they're brothers, so it totally makes sense. But just had to throw that in there real quick. AJ, moving it on a little bit. Let's hit on the last thing I want to talk about. Kind of how we always wrap this up. What it means for the Tar Heels. Trip to Miami awaits. Tough test. It's going to be a tough game for the Tar Heels. Everybody knows that. I think that's going to be a real litmus test to see not only with this defense, if they can carry this momentum into that, but see where this offense stands against a good Miami team. They have struggled a little bit this year, Miami, but still going to be a tough game down there. So, AJ, based on kind of what you've seen so far this year, big win, 1-0 in ACC play. Coastal Division, as far as I'm concerned, is wide open with just some of the, let's just say some of the score lines that have happened over the past week with some of these teams. I think there's a number of teams that could win it, and I don't really think there's a favorite right now. So we'll see what happens, but Carolina got to be feeling good going down to Miami. The confidence booster for this team, like I mentioned, 1-0 in ACC. Drake Maye playing really, really well. I think Carolina's got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, we'll do the Miami video later this week, but keep in mind the embarrassment that Carolina felt last week, Miami's dealing with that too.
Yeah.
So I think the thing to take away from this is you got to mark your points of each week of the season. I said before, the season is a book, each game is a chapter. Well, this chapter to me, the title of this chapter would be Learning to Play with Prosperity. Up 20 at App State. They didn't play with prosperity at all. They ended up turning in one of the worst defensive quarters in the history of the sport. All right. A week later, they go to Georgia State. They're up 21-3. Let's coast, guys. They didn't play with prosperity. Georgia State scores 25 consecutive points. Today, they go up 21-3, and I mark it down. I said, okay, how are they going to handle this? Well, Virginia Tech comes down the field and scores, and he cuts it to 21-10. Say, okay, how are they going to respond? Mac was very smart in saying, let's throw. They got the ball 28 seconds left at the end of the first half. Last week against Notre Dame, they took a knee, went in the locker room. Notre Dame started the second half with the ball and scored, and that was a double whammy right there. Today, Carolina got a field goal. They got the mo back. They got a good vibe back. Then they got the stop to start the second half when Virginia Tech had the ball, and that to me was the game.
Yeah, it was game.
That was this team saying, okay, we screwed up Prosperity before because we didn't respect it. Today we respected Prosperity and we did what we had to do. That's what these kids were saying. They were talking about not letting up. Cedric said, we're not going to let up. Max said they were saying on the sideline, the defense kept saying, we're not letting up. I don't care. It's 0-0 every series. We're not going to let up. So the kids took that mentality to the field. When Max says teachable lessons, people make cracks about it sometimes. But you saw evidence today of a lot of teachable lessons he's been talking about, and that's one of them. Okay, so they won both those games when they gave up the big leads. In the end, it didn't cost them in the win-loss column. And guess what? They're able to learn from it, applied it today, and they put their foot on the throat of the Hokies. Yeah. So that is growth. That's what this game means to me. So the team that goes to Miami Gardens next week, which is technically where they play,
I was going to say Coral Gables.
It's going to be a team that now knows they can play the 60-minute game. It's a team that knows that they can deal with Prosperity. It's a team that knows that they can stop the run. It's a team that knows they can force punts. It's a team that knows the offense and defense and special teams can all complement one another and be the kind of football team that they talk about in August that they are going to be. So that's the club that's going to hop on a plane and head south, which is a lot better mindset than the one that left the stadium here last Saturday night. So that's what this means. This means that 5 games in, all the stuff that people that are watching and listening to this video that complain on Twitter and on our message boards and send me DMs and complaining about this team, you have nothing to complain about today.
No.
They checked all those boxes and they grew. Now, how much did they grow? We'll find out next week. But the fact that that's what we're looking for next week is a statement about this program and this team taking a significant step forward today.
Yeah. Good stuff, AJ. Perfect place to wrap this one up. I'm still wet from sitting on this field and just, weather the past few days has been beautiful. So I'm ready to get the heck out of here. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. We appreciate you watching. As always, make sure you keep it locked to TarHillIllustrated.com for all your coverage from tonight's game. We'll obviously have the UNC football show coming out on Wednesday ahead of the Miami game, and then AJ will be down in, you said it's not in Miami. What did you say it was?
It's Miami
Gardens. Okay.
It's closer to Fort Lauderdale than it is downtown
Basketball
Miami.
arena's in Coral Gables, right?
Basketball is on campus, Coral Gables.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Coral Gables is like a 30-minute drive.
So nothing's actually in Miami.
Yeah, they play where the Dolphins play.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like southwest of downtown Miami.
Yeah.
And Miami Gardens is like northwest of downtown Miami.
So
usually I fly into Fort Lauderdale for football. I fly into Miami for basketball.
Makes sense.
But I'm flying into Miami this time because I couldn't get any good flight times.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to be in Miami, but you're going to be in Miami Gardens.
And I won't be at live action because I have a 10 a.m. flight.
Yeah,
so
I'll be at live action. I believe Kevin Royal, our photographer, will be there as well. So I have plenty
Trey
of
Scott will be there and Brandon P. So we'll still have 4 people there.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to it.
You guys can do the job of me.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, man. Well, I think we can probably handle it for you, AJ. Well, unless you enjoy that Miami life down there, as much as you'll get to enjoy down there. Yeah, man. I know that's one of your favorite trips.
Shaking it on South Beach.
Love it, man. Again, I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. We appreciate you watching. Thanks.